Hey guys, and welcome back to These Days. I am Jackie, and today I am talking about homeschool whys. I'm going to talk about what is a homeschool why and how do you find your homeschool why. My channel is all about motherhood, homeschooling, essential oils, gardening, plants, a lot of different things. I would love for you to follow along and subscribe, and be sure to click the bell down below and leave a comment and let me know that you subscribed. I would love to respond and say hey. So let's go ahead and dive on into our whys, grab a cup of coffee, and let's get started. Now, I have always kind of struggled with whys because it seems like such a big decision to make to create and find a why for something. Simon Sinek actually says that a why is the purpose, cause, or belief that drives every one of us. So everyone has a why, whether they have written it down and figured it out, whether they know it or not, they have a why. So one of the biggest voices within the why movement is Simon Sinek, and he wrote a book called Start With Why. He has this visual of your why being the center, your how being right after that, and your what being right after that. A lot of people start with how, and how is great, but if that how isn't working for you, then you need something to fall back on. Fall back on your why. If you've read the book, The Call of the Wild and Free by Ainsley Arnett, which is a really wonderful, wonderful homeschooling book, you will have read the part where she briefly talks about a why and having a why in that book. And I love how she says, keep that why handy because you're going to want to look back on it and you're going to want to reread it often because it is something that should help drive you when the days get hard and the days are long and it's not going well, or whenever you're having successes and everything is going great. That why is going to help fuel you as you move on in your homeschool journey. Once you identify your homeschool why, from that point, you can move on to how you want to homeschool. You can figure out what your homeschool philosophy or your homeschool style is from that why. So that is the how of your why. And then you can move on to the what. What curriculum are you using? What kind of events are you going to add in throughout your week? Do you want to be in a co-op? Do you not want to be in a co-op? What are you going to do in your homeschooling? And so that why really sets you up as a homeschooling parent to identify what type of homeschooling you're going to use and how you're going to homeschool and what's your homeschool philosophy. But you can always go back to the center, which is that why, and see where you're at and how it's going. Maybe that why needs to shift some, or maybe the what and the how need to shift some. So once you identify that why, you'll know the how and the what. Now, you've probably had people ask you, well, why do you homeschool? Why do you want to homeschool? And I used to really get frozen on that question because, first of all, I'm like, there's so many reasons why I want to homeschool, and there's so many factors going into that. But actually identifying those things and recognizing what they are within your why really helps when someone asks that question. So once you identify your why, which can be a sentence long, it can be pages long, it could be one word, your why, it can help you navigate how you're going to homeschool, and it can help you navigate what you're going to use to homeschool. So I think that a why for homeschooling is actually really, really important. I have created this little worksheet that gives you space to write out 5 reasons why you have decided to homeschool. And actually the next page in the download is a really pretty way to write down what your why is. And the way that I want you to do that is take little elements from each of those 5 reasons why you homeschool and make it into a sentence, or make it into a story, or make it into just one word that encompasses all of those things. An acronym maybe. I don't know, whatever you want to do to get creative on creating your why. And then hang it up and look at it often. Just like Ainsley Arnett said, whenever things get a little tough or when things are going really well, you can look at that why up on the wall or in the schoolroom or on your phone, wherever, and just know that you are on track and that is the direction that you want your homeschool to go. Now, the beautiful thing about a why is that it is truly yours. And that why can change. It doesn't have to always stay the same. It can change to where you are at as a family. And as your children age and they get older and they're able to understand what a why is, maybe have them do their own homeschool why. Now, there are lots of ways to find a why. Just Google it and you're gonna find probably lists of how to find your why. I know that there's books with different ways to find your why. But the point is that finding your why is a really important place to start. Or if you haven't even written out a why and you've been homeschooling for years, do it now. Start now and write out your why. So now I'm going to tell you guys why we have decided to homeschool and what our 5 main reasons for homeschooling is. These are in no particular order, but the first reason is we want our kids to be lifelong learners. We want them to follow their dreams, but also never stop learning. The second reason is because honestly, we want time with our kids. Like, we want to be able to spend this childhood with them and to pour into them as parents and as a teacher to them, and teach them and spend time with them at the same time. The third reason why we homeschool is we want our kids to be virtuous men. And so we want to help mold them into those men by teaching them to be godly boys and to love the Lord, by teaching them to love God and serve others. And so through that and through homeschooling, we're able to pick out the curriculums that we want that align with our beliefs as Christians. So that is another big reason why we have decided to homeschool. The fourth reason why we have decided to homeschool our kids is we want our kids to have an adventurous and intentional childhood, to go outside and play in the mud, and to go be able to grab a snack whenever they want, and to just do things freely the way that they want whenever we're not working on school throughout the day. We work on school for 2 hours, maybe 3 hours a day, and they can have the rest of the time to explore, to learn, to do whatever they want, to read books. So we want them to live an adventurous and intentional childhood. The fifth reason why we have decided to homeschool is for flexibility, to be able to go and do things as we want. If we want to go on a long weekend trip, we can do that. If we want to take a morning to go for a hike, we can do that. And you don't have to ask to get them out of school or anything like that. You can just go. And that is one of the beautiful things about homeschooling, is you have flexibility in it. And that is one big part of why we like homeschooling at this stage in life. And now I'm going to share with you what my why is. Our homeschool why is to foster the love of learning in our kids and to give them time to have a wondrous childhood and to go on adventures. We want our children to learn to love one another and our family and each other, and also learn to love others and God. We want our children to follow their dreams and to become virtuous boys and then on to men, and launch them out into this world. Our homeschool why may be different than yours, and that's okay. A homeschool why is wonderful because it is a unique why to your family and to where you are at in your homeschooling journey. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This video was actually a harder video for me to make, because it was really me trying to put into words like what a why is, how a why works, and I hope that it made sense to you guys, and I hope that this was a really helpful video. I feel like a why is really important. Maybe I put a little bit more weight on a why just because of what my personality is. But your why can change, and that just gives me such freedom in knowing that my why doesn't have to stay the same. The homeschooling why that we've chosen for our family can change. Leave a comment below if you have a homeschool why, or if you are wanting to have a homeschool why and you just haven't found one yet. I would love to hear if you use the PDF that I've provided to help you find that why. And I hope you do find that why, and that it is helpful to you in your homeschooling journey. Leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to subscribe to my channel. I generally post 2 times a week. And I hope you guys decide to follow along, find me on Instagram, and I hope you have a good, peaceful time trying to figure out what your why is for your homeschooling family. Thanks for watching.